Hello and welcome to the Full Force Weekly, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury Editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. In this episode, I bring you all the news from the past week in the world of G.I. Joe. So what is it, me?
Oh, beard. It's the Full Force Weekly!
See, it's not me at all, it's Mark Seddon. Hey!
Hey!
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. So I sort of grew a quick beard sort of backstage. Like,
I wondered why you disappeared off screen on
not
my
convincing.
Little thing. I'm like, oh, he's leaving now as the intro's playing? No, that's hilarious. Hello, everybody. Yes, Mark is quite forced me to do some last minute changes, of course, but offered to jump on and help for today's lots of news actually from MCM London, and plus it's MCM London, so it makes sense that you jump on, Mark, as someone that lives
nowhere
on
here for a change.
Someone that lives nowhere near London. Right?
Well, in American terms, it's, I'm next door.
That's very true, actually. Hello, everyone in the chat. Yes, it's the weekly. I was tempted, actually, at one point to just do a recap of the day for MCM. And then as the day progressed, it just made more sense to do an actual weekly. So to see how the sausage is made, that was my thought process the entire time. And Mark so very, very politely and courteously has offered to jump on and chat with me. So how are you doing, buddy? How's Talking Joe? How is
good?
Everything?
We're doing well. Yeah, it's going good. They keep on releasing these books, whether we like it or not.
Whether we like it or not. I actually do very much like it personally.
Because they're going fortnightly, and it's a lot of books and it's a lot to cover, but we're there for it.
RKW says, great to see Harry Hill on the stream. I think that's there's only one way to find out. Fine. Anyway, it's only one way to find out. Full force. Right. Yes. Okay. Well, we've got lots to get into. Loads of comics news as well, which I, with a recap of MCM, would not have even touched. So thanks, mate. We'll get into that right now. And I kind of want to talk to you actually about a lot of comic stuff anyway, because it's been so good recently. And then the Night Force story we had very recent was incredible. We've got Dreadnought War coming soon. Anyway, let's get into the January solicits. So obviously we're switching graphics and we're going into the comics burst. Slightly too long, but I like that. Gives me enough time to really check that I've changed all the graphics over. Anyway, yes, we have got January solicits and covers to be revealed. Well, that's already been revealed and shown off. But we definitely want to talk through these, don't we, bud? And of course, if you are a big fan of the comics, of course, and you haven't read certain issues, and you want to remain spoiler free, please remember this is going to get spoilery. So you might want to leave it for about 20 minutes just to be safe. But some really cool stuff happening in the future of these issues, Mark. And we'll start, of course, with the January solicits for the Hammer Files. Can't touch this. And of course, G.I. Joe 17. But let's start with the Hammer Files first. Yeah, go nuts. I want you to take over and do this entire segment.
So the Hammer Files are these sort of reprint editions that Skybound are doing, so reprinting classic issues, and I believe mostly on newsprint as well, to get that sort of vintagey, nostalgic feel.
I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know the newsprint thing was happening. That's dope.
So just like the issue 21 that kicked it all off, and it's also got a sort of a little letter in the back of the book from Larry Hama, sort of talking a little bit about the issue. So each one comes with the classic cover as released. So this one is a Mike Zeck vintage, but also typically a Chris Mooneyham variant as well. So we've got Chris Mooneyham taking on the proto Serpentor as he's sort of draping himself naked, covered by some fog and some shadow.
There. That's I'm surprised they didn't do that whole Batman thing. Do you remember the whole Batman thing where they showed like an ever so slight shape of something that might be down there? I'm surprised they didn't do that to Serpentor. And then he's more phallic with a name like Serpentor as well.
Yeah, innuendo. That's my shtick.
Talking Joe.
Yeah, the Dr. Mindbender moustache here, it sort of is carrying across the original era where they had it in white. So if I was at Skybound, I would be tempted to recolor his moustache black, just to have a little bit of differentiation from the original and to correct that
Maybe they
weird
want to like.
mistake they made back in
Maybe
the
it's
day.
like, I kind of like I like it when mistakes get carried over, not
Mhm.
necessarily in all situations, but I do like it with the toys, for example, where the classified series decided to continue the errors of the Python Patrol by doing two troopers rather than making one an officer. Just like you thought they had it sorted, and then the next one comes out and it's like all over the place. So yeah, I like the fact that these errors kind of continue, almost homaging the error
Or
as well.
recreating it.
Yeah, I like it.
These sort of reprints are sort of ping ponging all over the place from like classic issues, so it's not seemingly sort of following much of a pattern at the moment. We've had 26, and we had the sort of Joe Colton one from like the
Mm,
140s and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, sort of ping ponging about a little bit, but it is definitely a classic issue. And back in the day, they just hurtled along at such a pace. There was no decompression there at all. It would be like, a few pages raiding some tombs, bingo bango, we've created a cloned Cobra Emperor who's going to take over within the course of another couple of issues. So, but yeah, absolute classics. It's yeah, some of my very favorites is around this
yeah.
era. Around
I was going to ask you actually, are there any issues you want them to tackle with Harmer here, so you can get a little bit more insight into them?
Yeah, I think that given the recent 321, the new silent issue, that is a sequel to IDW's GI Joe Origins issue 19, which I think was 2006, if I'm remembering correctly, or thereabouts. And yeah, given it's basically a sequel to that silent issue with the same baddies, I think that would be quite fun if they could reprint that and sort of make it available to the new audience who are sort of maybe discovering this for the first time, or sort of haven't got that original. So that would
Yeah,
be, I think that would be a good one to do.
definitely. I was trying to think the other day of what like I want them to do. I think Cobra Civil, like the Cobra Island Civil War situation. I think that would be really freaking cool. But then, like, I kind of also don't want them to just do retread sort of the most obvious ones. I kind of want to see them tackle a few like real bangers, but like kind of almost like kind of flew under the radar a little bit in the.
Yeah, because I think there's a few that they could do that just have never found an audience, but are still great books. So a key one for me would be, I think it's called Final Test. It was one of the comic book comics produced by Hasbro, and it was linked to a toy pack that got cancelled, so it only ever got released as a digital comic. But it had Iron Claw as the baddie, sort of
Nice.
training up some Crimson Guards, and it was a really fun issue, but it's never actually seen physical print. So that would be a really fun one for them to actually finally print.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, there's a couple of like those like weird kind of in the ether, sort of like in a bit of limbo from in certain situations with these comics, and I think definitely getting them sort of like incorporated into the continuity nicely would be awesome. Yeah, and to be honest, they could probably grab anyone that
Yeah.
Hammer's done, and then just have him, go like, because any extra information is always great in these things. I'm not sure how much of it is him like really dragging the information out of that mind, or if it's they're picking certain issues that he just has very strong like feelings about, and therefore has a lot to talk about them with. Maybe that could be how they're doing it, because
Maybe.
it doesn't necessarily feel like there's a like rhyme or reason to the choices. It seems very like, and like you said, they're kind of pinging all over the place, aren't they, with them? But yeah, anyway. And then of course we have GI Joe 17. Of course, now this will be what number of part of I can't remember what part, 5 of Dreadnought War. So this will be like back end of the Dreadnought War, basically.
Yeah. So it's starting off with issue number 13, which will be the next issue of GI Joe out, and then it'll be bi-weekly, and I think this is the big one that will introduce Roadblock, if I'm remembering correctly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's featured across a lot of the covers. So, yeah,
And
I'm
Road
there
Pig.
for it. So I said Roadblock, didn't I? Road Pig.
But also,
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think Roadblock is being introduced in
he's
this
being introduced in the
period.
next issue. Yeah, in
Yeah.
issue 18. Yeah.
But there's here the covers as well. I've been like we've kind of covered these already in a lot of detail. Like obviously this kind of is this the Tom Riley one?
This is Tom Riley
Yeah,
that's on the screen at the
the
moment.
split, the kind of like the wraparound, which is
Mhm.
really cool. And I love the fact that Raucus has made a debut in the comics already. Raucus making the same debut into the Skybound universe as Road Pig is fantastic. And then of course we have these buttes as well. So these close-ups, these have been really cool. These are Kendrick Kunker, is that right? Is he
Could
doing
be
those?
on the right. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, it's Lee Bernejo, I think, that's doing the close-ups, if I'm mistaken.
It's Ben Oliver who's doing the close-ups, like
Oh,
these
my bad.
portrait shots
So
with like that very
that's technically cover
painterly.
C on the left then.
I think it might be, yeah.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, I do love those close-ups are really cool and crazy realistic. Lots of detail in them. And again, like this one, a lot of people are saying Brock Lesnar, and I
Yeah,
see it very much.
for sure.
A big, like someone whose neck is bigger than the top of their head, basically. Quite impressive. So good. And then the explosion backgrounds. That's Jesus Marino, I want to say, or not?
You put me on for a test. I can never. They sort of tend to alternate with these explosion backgrounds. You've got. Okay, yeah, we've got someone in the chat correcting us. Jesus Marino.
Thank you.
And I think Road they hinted in the panel from I think it was NYCC that they saw a character in advance of him being released by the from the classified team. They kind of going to get a bit of early visibility of what they're developing, and they said, "Oh, we saw this character, and we thought we must introduce him into the Energon universe." And I have a feeling that this must have been who they were talking about.
Do you hope
because they're going straight for the Energon? They in the Energon universe. Sometimes they redesign, but this is very directly the classified,
isn't it? Are they? Do you think they're going to keep the kind of Donald split personality thing, or do you hope that happens?
I hope it happens, yeah, because they kind of have abandoned that in the ARA universe from his last few appearances. So yeah, I hope they do go for it, because it is quite an endearing characteristic of Road Pig.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you kind of think some characters sort of have these kind of personality traits that you can't see them doing other like I had a real big I had a lot of difficulty kind of accepting the kind of character change that happened to Quick Kick back in Aubrey Citizen's run.
Okay.
I couldn't deal with Quick Kick in that series. Like I felt like he went a different way with him, developed a different kind of character, but it was so different to what the character felt like to me with Quick Kick that I struggled with that one. And so there are some characters that I find it really difficult kind of like accepting something that isn't already very ingrained, and I know a lot of people have that issue with the design in general. I seem to have that just more with the personality of how I see these characters, in sort of in general, which is funny because some of the Action Force International Hero sort of weekly and monthly characteristics are not necessarily the same as the G.I. Joe, even Sunbow to Marvel Comics sort of characteristics. So it's weird that I have that sort of like weird hang up with some of the characters. Like I've never really understood it, but it is what it is. I can't help it. And we also had this one, which, can I just say, I love this cover, but it's giving me Calvin and Hobbes. Do you know what I'm saying?
They're often an adventure. It's a cart sort of flying over the hill.
And it's more so, I think, the personality in the vehicle, like the wheels almost like folded in, like, you know, like bent inwards, and like
Mm.
it's bouncing along, like it's almost like just very happy personality wise, and it just screams Calvin and Hobbes to me, and I can't get that out of my head. Yeah, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I'll say yes. It wasn't my initial reaction, but it's cool. I like it. You know, this isn't a typical cover, and I like it when they sort of like just try and do something that's different to everything that we've seen before, because it's so easy to just do a, you know, waist up profile, you know, shot of a character, but just to go, you know, go out there and just try and create a striking image that is just different to what you've ever seen before is difficult when there's been that many covers. So
Yeah.
this is cool, and I think it's Piper, this one, who's has done like an indie series all about sort of a racing robot thing. So drawing vehicles in motion is definitely in his wheelhouse.
I bloody love it, and I think it's because it gives me Calvin and Hobbes vibes that I love it so much. So I'm down for this one. I think it's great. And then we have 18, which is like, as we just discussed, is where Roadblock is being introduced into issue 18, and 324, dude. Like that cover, the space for the Star Brigade, almost said Space Force then, the Star Brigade. On the cover, very awesome. I'm very excited about this possibility, this prospect. Yeah, let's start with 18 though, and some of these beautiful covers with G.I. Joe 18 and Roadblock's introduction.
Yeah, so this is Marco Federa back on the interiors of the book, who did issue number 12. So if you enjoyed the art on that issue, he is back. And
was 12 was the first Night Force introduction,
this was the shooter introduction.
Yeah, the shooter introduction. Sorry, first major Night Force mission sort of situation. Well, not really the first Night Force mission, because
second, because
Jay and
Beachhead.
Flint had to pick up Beachhead, didn't they? Yeah, you're right. Sorry, carry on. I'll stop interrupting now.
So yeah, we're seeing this new design with Roadblock and his new sort of weaponry. And you know, he's definitely a character that is associated with a particular, you know, gun, with his Marjuice and stuff. So it's seeing that we're kind of getting a bit of a modern update on that, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, again, sort of, it's a very different cover. He's sort of there on his mobile catering van.
Marvin's, what was it? Melts.
Marvin's Melts.
Love it. Love it. I love the orange and white striped flag sort of behind him as well, to kind of like carry on that sort of food vibe. It's quite cute. I like it. This has got a couple of things going on for me. Obviously, his chef sort of background, the what do you call it? I mean, apron, the hat, very Roadblock, as you'd expect, but also thrown in that little bit of rock on the top of the what the hell do they call that in Retaliation? The Ripper, was it the Ripsaw that he uses in the Retaliation movie? The rock standing on the front, shooting his huge machine gun. That's what that's kind of given me here. So I feel like there's a lot of little homages running through this one, but very cool. A little bit Twisted Metal vibes going on here, would you say?
Maybe.
I guess. And then we have Chameleon, of course. Cool, very
Standard.
cool. Yeah, very cool cover. And do you know who did this one? Because I can't tell, because it's I've got all the covers there and all the people that did them, but I don't know who actually to associate with which one.
You have to refer back to my notes, Chris.
Refer back to your notes. Me referring back to your notes.
Where are we?
Obviously,
this is probably oh, no, it's not. It will be probably the Michelle Rubini. Oh, no. This will be the Kendrick Kunka Lim, I think, actually.
So we've gone through literally all of we've gone through the entire artistic.
I reckon that's Kunka Lim. She's sort of known for, you know, sort of more of the female
okay,
character stuff.
I'm gonna go with that one. And then we have
that's Ben Oliver on the left for sure, doing the profile, the headshot of Roadblock. I wonder how many. I wonder if they'll just keep on going with Ben Oliver, because he'll have what,
300 covers
or so that we've seen in a row from him so far. So that's quite cool. And then I guess the D is probably the Lucas Mayer
Adriana
explosion
Lucas.
background.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
then
Adriana Lucas. And,
yeah, well, it's both. It's both of them.
Lucas Mayer, Adriana Lucas, I guess, on color.
Yeah. And then again, this is that machine gun that we talked about the other day, like in chat. I've forgotten the name of it already, but I sent it to you.
You did send it to me.
Something, XM311 or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's got an interesting name, but I did find it because someone mentioned it in the comments like a couple weeks back when it first
there
popped up.
was a couple of like experimental sort of heavy machine guns that I think the army was trying to introduce as potential replacements, and I think they didn't ever see mainstream release, so only kind of exist as like experimental weaponry. But I think the closest one was probably the XM312.
That was it. Thank you. XM312, and it looks really cool. I think it's an interesting new weapon for him as well, and I'd like to see another roadblock in classified, please. That'd be great. And then of course we have this beauty as well, which I think this is probably my favorite of all of the covers from 18. I don't know, I kind of like the group's kind of shots, and again, like Roblox sort of joining Night Force here as well by all intents and purposes.
I'm guessing, this is another recruitment issue where they're sort of building up their Night Force team, because it started out just Flint and Lady J in the Energon Universe Special 2024, the Free Comic Book Day. But then in issue number 7, they recruited Beachhead. Issue number 12, they've recruited Shooter. And here, a few issues on again, it looks like they're recruiting Roblox. So they're building out the squad.
It says here, a standalone Night Force covert op. Roblox Energon Universe first appearance. Will he join Lady J and Flint's team, or another group? Question mark.
They're leading us down
I tell you, if they introduce Tiger Force or something, I will cry. Happy tears. Anyway, I love that. Really cool. And again, I do like the Night Force as is at the moment with Shooter as well now.
If you're going for a covert, op group, you definitely need Roadblock in that
giant
squad,
man with a huge machine gun. Holding a bunch of melts. No, that's fantastic. And then we've got 324. This is probably I'm most excited about actually in terms of covers. So, Battle Beyond the Skies. Lady J's team must stop the Blue Ninja's aerial assault before their orbital station activates. So we're seeing Jay on the cover there. Then is that Jay, Sci-Fi,
That's
and
Jay,
Payload?
Sci-Fi. Oh yeah, I was thinking maybe Payload.
It would make
could
sense
be somebody else, but
he's very much like the go-to. Him and Countdown are like the go-to astronaut.
Yeah. If you're going to go, you'd want an astronaut on your squad for sure.
One or two.
Deep Six, maybe.
Yeah. Version 1, you could probably get away with Deep Six in space. But I love the fact that we've got Sci-Fi in this one, and it's hard to really say, but it looks like it's just sort of like an ever so slightly doctored version of the regular Sci-Fi, just to make him a little bit more space ready. But yeah, I think that is probably going to be Payload. But yeah, it looks like there's a lot of damage going on there, a lot of like an explosion. The guys are kind of like stuck out in space, it looks like. I love space related stories when it comes to Joe's stuff. I'm well into it. So this is I'm very excited for this.
It's a great cover. Do you remember that Battle Action Force cover of that sort of freaky space guy floating out in space?
Yes.
Full figure. I think it was like half kind of robot underneath or something like that.
Yeah, Brian Hickey and myself we talked about that on one of our very old friggin' Disorder of Battle episodes. We're going back a little bit now. But it has that vibe to me, definitely.
It's great. I mean, anytime, I like the different, them sort of really shooting for something different, and they're going for kind of a different and unexpected and unusual composition here with them floating in space, and particularly with the way that they've got the composition for Lady J here with, sort of just arching sort of, away from us and stuff like that. I think it's one of those instantly very kind of iconic covers, it feels like.
She looks like Ripley, and Payload is in the position of the xenomorph that you always see, kind of curled up, like in that.
Right.
So it's like this is very aliens going on, aliens going on here, Alien 3, and so on and so forth, Resurrection, and just keep going. I wonder if this is. I wonder if Alien Resurrection is going to be brought into the GI Joe universe so that we can have another R-related GI Joe thing. We've also got the Gear sort of like series with, now it's a bit odd to obviously have a space issue and then the then the issue, the cover that we get as the variant is water based, but who knows, Shipwreck may be in this, in the Devilfish. He may be in this issue, not necessarily in space, but in like a
they
like
could have
track.
multiple locations. They sort of try and have a plot and a B plot, so it's possible that Shipwreck is doing something in Devilfish in the story inside, but I would guess unlikely.
Yeah, it'd be so good if he's in space in a Devilfish with Polly. That'd be more Sunbow related, wouldn't it? But I do like these. I do like these covers with all the different sort of like characters. With I wouldn't even say necessarily Steve Beach. I wouldn't even say necessarily like they always like go together exactly. It's almost like they're just like the most iconic things of both, vehicle and character. Like Cobra Commander and the Hiss Tanks sort of semi go together. But for me, Cobra Commander, that version of Cobra Commander, is more synonymous with the Claw than he is the Hiss Tank. And that may be up for debate anyway. But Duke and the Skyhawk's a weird one. Like I feel like it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but it's also a little bit like, really? But Shipwreck and the Devilfish is way more on point. Cover Girl and the Wolverine, yes, absolutely. But yeah, cool, man. Loving these from Steve Beach. And then we also have Transformers 28 and Void Rivals 26 as well coming out in this similar period. And of course, if you're paying attention to the Energon Universe, we are getting some major crossover events happening, especially with Transformers, I would say. Well, it's both, actually, because Cobra La is well and truly embedded in the Void Rivals story at the moment. But Transformers and Joe are really having a proper crossover at the moment, aren't they, in the Transformers books?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. They sort of had General Flag featuring heavily in the last issue, issue 25, as well as the reveal of an important other character.
You can say it. So this is spoiler heavy, so you can just say it.
Yeah, so we've got, I guess, Miles Mayhem in Transformers, introduced in a very, very cool way, with Matt Tracker being introduced in G.I. Joe. So it's you've got the sort of G.I. Joe bit of Mask and the Transformers bit of Mask in parallel, and sort of just leading you to sort of like wonder when they're going to intersect.
Yeah.
Given that we've got these competing factions in the different books. Yeah.
It's interesting to me because obviously we're early days here. Miles Mayhem is in league with the military, with G.I. Joe, with General Flag, or with the military, I would say. It's not like, is it clearly G.I. Joe? It doesn't say that, does it?
Not in that issue, no. In previous issues, they've had G.I. Joe insignias on their uniforms and stuff. So
okay.
Doc featured in Transformers previously, and he had like that sort of stars and sort of the three parallel lines
thing. Yeah.
So
because my thought process here is that obviously G.I. Joe is technically off the books anyway. It's not the military. It is the military, but it's like an off the books sort of situation, which makes me laugh about Night Force being an off the books. It's like there are books, then you're off the books with G.I. Joe, and then what the hell does Night Force even mean? Like, just no admin. They ran out of admin, basically, didn't they? So no one's doing it. But it seems to me at the moment like the military kind of in league with Miles Mayhem for whatever reason, like technology-wise, what have you. And Matt Tracker seems to be a little bit like underground, like a bit distant. And I wonder if the storyline of Mask has already sort of begun to sort of happen in the background or in the past. And we're getting to a point now where Tracker has been sort of like having to lay low for whatever reason. And Miles Mayhem is in a position of power in the military sort of situation.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah,
it does,
there's some backstory. We just don't know quite what's happened with Matt Tracker.
Do you think, Mark, Mask is going to happen as an addition to the Energon universe, as a standalone or separate series or any sort of spin-off? Do you think it's just going to live in where it is at the moment, or do you think it's strong enough to do its own thing?
I don't think they're going to rush to it. I think it could happen in the future. It could be like the fourth book, but I think they want to build that story and build the expectation so that if and get a sense of how people are reacting to it.
Yeah.
So that if it does launch as a separate book, then you've kind of really sort of built up that anticipation to it. And it seems to be working, because I'm excited about Mask because of this aspect. Whereas if they just went and dropped another Mask book, I would be less interested.
I agree with that. I'd have to say I love the kind of approach of take it easy, take it slowly, let it grow naturally, and etc. etc. Like, it just makes sense for them to do that. They know what they're doing, and they're building that anticipation for sure, like you said. And I personally think what we'll probably see at some point is some sort of backstory spin-off, some sort of one shot, or maybe even a mini series, because they love doing mini series, and I'm all here for it as well, just to kind of give us that backstory on Miles Mayhem, Matt Tracker, and the situation that Mask and Venom find themselves in. It might just be that neither of those factions are actually a thing yet. It might be that Matt Tracker is Matt Tracker and Miles Mayhem is Miles Mayhem as two independent contractors, and that obviously for whatever reason they've had to go their separate ways. I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? But I'm excited.
They gave a name to it in issue 25. I don't have my copy next to me, but I think it's something like Shadow Force that Miles Mayhem is in charge of. So they've kind of given his faction a bit of a name in terms of what he's doing on behalf of General Flag. There was a good question in the chat from Cliff Doc Christiansen.
Never any good questions in the comments. Just
who
kidding.
Said, what other IPs can they add to the Energon universe?
Can I just say, by the way, but quickly, I'm just kidding, Cliff. That is a great question. I am just joking. I'm just being a D-bag.
They dropped a little hint of Visionaries. They made a reference to the Visionaries planet.
Yeah,
in,
it was
Void Rivals.
Prismosians. They were called out or something
like that. Yeah,
in fact, What was that? That was the last time we spoke about comics. By the way,
was it
like face to face? Yeah, I think I was on one of your episodes, and I believe that was in the issue that we were discussing. Right. Isn't that random? Amazing.
Yeah, so I'd like to see I'd like to see Battle Beasts in there as well.
I mean, that's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No.
The connection with Transformers is pretty strong. It may even have been Battle Beasts might actually have been brought up in Transformers recently as well, in like one of those sort of Prismosian sort of homage comments. Right. That's not a bad shout. I think ROM's a possibility. What with all the space stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't know what the whole exact legal setup is with Rom at the moment, but they did use him. They did use him in the IDW universe, so potentially he might be able to get to show up. I think Void Rivals gives a really good platform for some of the weird things from G.I. Joe corners 100%. to show up without it kind of interrupting that sort of grounded military feel too much. So you can have your Monstro Vipers and your Bottomax Empire,
lunatics, animals. Yeah, that'd be actually. Do you know what? That would be fun. That would be so good. That needs to happen. The Cobra La, I think, has been done really well in the Void Rivals issue so far. Like, I love Pythona and her little team that they're kind of like you're covering, and one of her troops has kind of been infected by is it the Energon infection? Something has infected the armor. And it's crazy cool. Anyway, thank you, Cliff, for that question. That's actually a really good one. I was only joking before, of course. Chris G reckons My Little Pony and Power Rangers and Energon. Michael Taylor says ROM, Voltron. Interesting. Sean says they can always say that Mars technology was to compete against Transformers. I mean, there's loads of different ways, Sean, that they can do that for sure. But I think we'll find out soon as they start to bring these characters in more and more issues. Cops, says Michael Taylor. Phenomenal. Micronauts, obviously, is another good shout from Carlos there. Silverhawks, Cops, Micronauts, and ROM might fit, says Cliff. I think that you can make anything fit, let's face it. If they're allowed to do it, they can make it fit. But I think it's more about what do they want to do, what feels right at that moment, and what doesn't feel like you're just throwing it in for the sake of it. Because I will say that did feel like the case, didn't it? Back when we had all of those competing and trying to like be in the issues, it felt like they were just doing everything.
Yeah, I think you sort of, if you go too big too quick, you sort of lose the more personal stories. And it's like, I think a lot of what is interesting about and what they've been successful in the Energon universe is sort of starting small and sort of making you feel a bit more emotionally invested in some of the characters and stuff.
Definitely.
If you just empty the toy box onto the floor all in one go, you kind of just lose sight of that,
of everything,
that story,
of the floor. Anyway, yeah, that's Transformers 28, Void Rivals 26. If you are, like I said, I am reading everything in the Energon universe. It is like they've locked me in basically, and I can't get out. We've also got the Transformers UK Compendium Book 1 trade paperback, which is coming out. So this is obviously the paperback version, right, of the main kind of thing which happened previously and broke all sorts of records with the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure quite how it overlaps, but this is specific because a lot of the Kickstarter, you had those two options. You kind of get the US version or the kind of the UK stuff all intermingled. So this one is specifically just the UK stuff.
I'm so excited that this exists, by the way, that this particular trade paperback is coming out, because it's going to make my life a lot easier in reading all of this again. But yeah, the Kickstarter was crazy as well. My God, did it do even bigger numbers than the Joe one?
Oh, I don't remember what it finished on, but yeah, I mean, Transformers typically has a little bit of a bigger audience, so you'd think that it might.
But Joe was almost at 4 mil. It was like late 3 mil, wasn't it? It was like really close to 4 million. And I don't know what the Transformers Compendium ended up doing in the end, but for at one point when I was tracking it, it wasn't doing the same numbers. So, but I'll have to double check that. Someone will know in the comments. But we've also got the cover for this beauty as well. And are you excited for this, or are you like, you've read this so many times you don't really?
Well, I've gone for the Kickstarter, so I think I'll be getting the contents of this in some format or another. It was one of those sort of FOMO moments of like, well, okay, let's just do it. Click.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? I've got no space for it. But and it will just sit on the shelf and not get read. But apart from that, I've not sort of gone back and reread a lot of the Transformers stuff since back in the in the 80s when it was coming out as Transformers Weekly in the UK.
When you're a wee lad.
So yeah, it's one of those things that I would like to sort of go back and revisit. Yeah.
I definitely want to. Like, I want 100%. I'm really happy this particular trade paperback exists, because I didn't have enough to do the Kickstarter, unfortunately. But I didn't even do the Joe Kickstarter, by the way. But I was just happy that they both did tremendously well, so I was just happy with that. So as well as
Diana's got the number.
Oh, has she? TF Kickstarter is, oh yeah, it did way more. It did way more than, well, not way more, but like probably almost a mil more than the Joe book. Even so, I think the Joe Kickstarter was a record until the Transformers one happened. So anyway, phenomenal stuff.
Diana thinks 4.6 million.
That's a lot. Jeez.
Yeah. Not too shabby.
And again, okay, so that leaves us then to just shout out James McFadden, whose book Fighting for Freedom, the Unauthorized G.I. Joe Chronology, which features the comic books from 1964 to 2008. So that is now on Amazon. Link is not in the description. I will post a social post about that after this episode. But anything you want to talk about on this one, Mark, before we move on?
I just remember James McFadden from back in the day on the Devil's Due message boards and whatnot. He was, one of the go-to guys for just sort of that encyclopedic knowledge of G.I. Joe comics continuities, and he had his website sort of, with very detailed character profiles and stuff. Yeah. I think this is one of those books that's just been worked on for many, many, many years and is finally out. So sort of, hats off to James for making it happen. So
was that a dig at Tim, by the way, as well?
It wasn't meant to be, but
then I made that a dig at Tim by saying it out loud. That's too funny.
But yeah,
anyway,
this is focused on sort of comic books up to the end of 2008. So it's essentially up to the point that, as I understand it, up to the point of the Devil's Due era ends. So it's more of the Marvel and Devil's Due era focus.
Awesome. Well, like I said, that's available at Amazon right now. You can just search for it if you want. Fighting for Freedom, the Unauthorized G.I. Joe Chronology by James McFadden. And that, like I said, is on Amazon right now if you want to get involved with that. Anyway, that is the end of the comics bit, which actually went on longer, but there's two of us talking about this, so obviously it's going to happen. And comics, that marks entire life. So we're going to shift from comics now into the news, and we're going to continue about talking about Energon Universe. I'm afraid we might have an animated series coming. I see you dancing in the background there, Mark, while we're waiting for it to switch over. And I updated the graphics in the background as well, so perfect. Anyway, yes, Energon Universe animated series, Skybound are doing this. Deadline reports that an Energon Universe animated series is happening with Joe Henderson tied to the writer. He's literally been tied to the desk and he has to write this in a certain amount of time. No, so Deadline broke the story. Now, a rumor had happened a couple of weeks prior, or maybe even a week. It wasn't very long. We were talking about this prior, that there was a bit of a rumor going around that the Energon Universe was getting an animated series. And I said at the time, it's these things there's usually something to it. It had the same feeling to me, Mark, and I'll let you talk about this as well in a sec. It had the same feeling to me that the Skybound, when we started hearing Skybound had got the actual license for Transformers and Joe and all that, it had that sort of vibe, because there was that rumor for the longest time, and then all of a sudden they announced it was official and everything was right. But with this, I was like, oh yeah, we 100%, this has got to have something to do with it. Like I even feel like it needed an animated series.
Yeah. So I think it was just ahead of New York Comic Con that the rumors started swirling about, and people were hoping or thinking, are they going to reveal something in the panel? And they didn't, and they said that there wasn't anything there. And obviously, until with something as big as this, you're not going to get them coming out and revealing and making that grand reveal until it's ready to go. And so the fact that they denied it at the time was a little bit meaningless, because maybe it wasn't happening, or maybe it was and they just couldn't talk about it.
Even at the time, someone mentioned that they said, oh, they're not, they said it's not happening, and I said, don't believe that. Like, seriously, they have to say something, and they unfortunately have to deny it most of the time when it's in that stage. And we're even at the stage at the moment where it is just them basically shopping it around. So this may or may not happen still, of course. But I don't know. I feel like this is a good positive move in the right direction for it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like if you're going to go big and you're going to sort of, there's a bit of a dwindling or legacy audience for G.I. Joe. If you want to go big, you want to sort of scoop up some of that youth audience and some of that enthusiasm. You've got to do something big, like a movie or an animated series and something like that. And seeing how well the Energon Universe has been executed, my idea, which isn't necessarily an original or particularly out there idea, is really capitalize on that. Do the animated series, tie in the toys to that animated series, and given just how successful the Invincible series has been and how well that's been executed, it seems like a no-brainer as a way of really sort of revitalizing these brands.
There's a lot of positives here, because you look at the situation of like Kirkman, of course, and the success that Skybound have had, not just with the comics, but with that other side of entertainment, like the animation, like shows and all that kind of stuff. They have the pedigree to do something great with this. Just like I had my reservations when Skybound got the Joe and Transformers title and everything, and I felt a little bit like I was okay with IDW passing it along, right? I was okay with that sort of coming to an end, but I was worried, and I was like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what they're gonna do, or if it's gonna be, are they gonna be able to do something with this? And they've blown it out of the friggin' park. Like they've blown it out of the park. And it's just, yeah, well, you know, I kind of feel like there's a lot of positivity around this particular direction. And the fact that, you know, you've got someone who has done I mean, I really like Lucifer. And what's the other one? White Collar.
What about the TV show Lucifer? What do you think of that?
TV show is crap, but the Lucifer in general, I sold my soul a long time ago. No, the shows were great. So like, I'm excited to see what happens there. Also, I kind of feel like it's not really broken to a degree. I think there's an element of transferring it for like to adapt it for a TV sort of situation. But in terms of like the storylines that Skybound have been doing, I think you follow that rhythm, follow those patterns, and just go that direction. I think it will be fine in that sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the comics have been, you know, so good that you know, they've got the blueprint there that they can follow for success. And you know, Invincible, they've pretty much followed that model of being pretty faithful to the books, and they can go on a little detours and sort of change things up a little bit, but you know, they've got the blueprint there that they're basically following. And it'll be interesting to see what direction they go with the Energon universe, because you know, there isn't necessarily a single book. You've got your Transformers, Void Rivals, and G.I. Joe, and there's, you know, points of crossover, but they're mostly independent. So it will be interesting to see in terms of how they would want to approach that. Is it going to be like 3 main series with like potential sort of crossover specials, or you know, 1 main series with sort of things happening in parallel and you're going from one to another, or sort of focusing more on one plot in one episode and then you're, you know, shifting gears to look at another, and you can see then you've got your, you know, as they did actually with Invincible, they've done specials, like they've done a
spin-offs.
What's she called? Yeah, spin-offs, like Atom Eve, you know, solo specials, spin-off kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. So you could see them, you know.
I mean, what, 5 seasons?
Like,
it's been renewed for a 5th season. Like, if we get multiple seasons of this, I'd be really excited. Like, it's nice. It'd be nice to have like and again, it's an adult themed thing as well. So it's going to be very much, you know, and I imagine more so in terms of what we've seen in the comics so far. I don't think we're just going to be thrown into some sort of weirdly sexualized.
Yeah, and they're going to start showing off Optimus Prime's cock or anything like that. It's going to be, you know, you've got torture scenes with Cobra Commander and that kind of stuff. Sorry, I broke Chris.
Amazing.
He wasn't expecting that.
No, that's genius.
Yeah, I mean, it's the comics are T for teen and for teen, and they definitely do have those elements of you know, some you know, bit more of horror aspects and violence and that kind of stuff. Stomping on a little baby deer.
Yeah, I know, that was a bit sad. And also just completely brushed off as a jokey kind of comedic thing in a sense, but yeah.
Well, I think it was meant to be poignant, but so yeah, you can see kind of thinking that it's going to be a little bit skewed more to that sort of teen, sort of adult, you know. Have you been
surprised at the success of the comics? Because I mean, we're talking crazy second printings constantly as well.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I had a lot of faith, sort of, given Kirkman's pedigree, in terms of what he's created with The Walking Dead and Invincible. You know, pretty much anything he touches, he sort of lines up great creators and executes it really well. So I've been a big fan of what he does generally. So I wasn't that surprised, but yeah, it's been nice that it has been as big a launch and has been as well received as obviously it has. So yeah, that is great.
Really happy about everything. So anyway, yes. So just one more thing about Henderson. He has previously served as showrunner on Lucifer, as I mentioned before, and he's got credits with White Collar and Almost Human. Again, lots of shows that I genuinely do quite like. So I'm happy that he might be the person that's doing this. We'll have to see how it goes. There'll obviously be more information to come, you know, more official information as well to come on related to this. And I'm just really excited that it isn't just a rumor that's going to disappear after a while. Maybe there is something to this. I mean, Deadline do not like report on this stuff unless it is like solid info. Well, you might like laugh in the comments a little bit there, but they really don't for the most part. There's usually a lot more to it than just a bit of smoke. So I think for this one, can't wait to see more on this. Do you think it probably, one last thing on this, do you think it probably derails any live action work for Joe?
It could do, or it could do the opposite as well. It's like, you know, I think you know, Invincible has been an incredible success, and anytime there's a big success like that, they're like, okay, what else can we do in that? What can we do to get another Invincible? And this is like an obvious one where you've got the comic, it's doing really well. It's not just coming out of nowhere. They've got the established pedigree of how well that comic has been doing. So it seems like a good bet, like if you wanted to make that bet of having another Invincible. And then, you know, success to some degree breeds success. So it's like with the success of like Transformers, you know, in the movie space, that hasn't meant that they've not gone and done, you know, any other animated stuff, because they have been doing other cartoons in parallel to all of the live action stuff. So who knows? It could be that if G.I. Joe, this is a impetus to making it just move up a notch onto the next level, then maybe that helps even seeing it somewhere else in the live action or whatever.
Can you believe there's another Lorenzo D involved? Anyway, that is enough of that. Yes, that is the Energon Universe animated series. Deadline has reported that they are now shopping the pitch basically to all the different kind of studios, and hopefully we're getting to get to see that at least get into the development phase pretty soon. I could see it maybe landing on Amazon Prime again in the same way that we've seen them, you know, utilize that kind of avenue with Invincible, but we'll have to wait and see, and I'm excited to see where it ends up. Anyway, right, let's get into the big important classified news of the day, shall we?
Is there some? It's all right. Okay, I thought
we heard about it yet. Haven't heard about it yet. Let's do it. Everyone's been yelling at us in the comments to stop talking about the bloody Energon Universe.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. Yeah, okay. So the MCM 2025 panel recap, and what's even funnier for a lot of you guys is that I'm completely psyching you out here, because the first thing we're talking about is actually not that related. No, shout out to Scott Johnson, who has been posting his artwork every now and again on all sorts of different social kind of platforms. And of course, we've seen now this heavy duty piece, which of course, you know, the figure well and truly out there now, but this is the full piece. Very nice, Mark. And I know you appreciate a nice bit of art every now and again, don't you?
Yeah, sort of looking at this, it's just sort of reminded how important those ear defenders are. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, big time. Love this. Very cool. And Scott does great work. I'm going to be getting Scott on the show very soon.
Ooh.
We were just waiting for all of the you know, the cons to kind of be done and dusted so that we can kind of have that space to really operate in. But I'll be reaching out again to Scott to set that up. So we'll be doing that with him. That's one kind of highlighting some of these things as well. And he's also posted this, which was really cool. So this is the full art, the original art for the kind of website Yakuza style Storm Shadow from Classified Phase 1 back in 2020 and beyond, of course, because it would have been developed before 2020. And this is really cool because this piece is actually not completely exactly the same as the piece that ended up on the website, as Mark actually pointed out in a comment on one of the posts, on this very post, I think. And I think Scott has even said, well, that he doesn't even have that version that's got the new updated tattoo. So who knows where that is? But this is really cool to see the full artwork kind of like full piece, isn't it? Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice as well, because I think this one had a lot of, when it was used, there was quite a lot of cropped versions of it. So this might even be the first time that we've seen an entire unadorned version of this image with this prelim version of the tattoo before it got switched up.
Absolutely. And it's good to kind of really highlight some of the solid card art that you see out there when we've had such a recent sort of like, I want to say like a weird, should we say like what it really is, like a very close sort of like AI feeling scenario in a lot of things. And that has really kind of rubbed the fandom the wrong way completely. And it's funny just how unanimous that is. And I think it's just down to the fact that for me personally, like GI Joe is it's so important as a brand that the artwork is just as important as the actual figures
Mhm.
themselves. Like it helped to tell that story, and at the moment it's the only thing telling a story.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's so much part of our memory of GI Joe is that amazing card art. And it sort of just because particularly back in the day when you had your 3 3/4 inch figures, and they there was only so much detail they could add to those. The card art really sort of brought those to life. So I think it's just synonymous with GI Joe. Is GI Joe with some amazing art bringing those characters to life.
And yeah, it's so important that it's weird that well, in that kind of is being seen, I guess. But who knows? Will it be one of those things where no matter the outcry, progress continues on this really odd AI sort of vibe, and I hate it so much. I hope that isn't the case. Also, shout out to Lenny who posted his inputs for Darklon very recently. And again, not really much to go into here, Mark. But he did post obviously the kind of input sketches and like a little color version as well. And it's just really just to say that we've reported and talked about it. But is anything you want to add on this? Is Darklon a favorite of yours from the line at all, or do you care?
Yeah, he's great. I do love a bit of Darklon. I think he served as my predator when I was playing back in the day.
Nice.
And yeah, good to see him in the comics recently as well. Got introduced in issue number 12 with the mask.
Big time. I loved at the end of, was it Destro issue 5, I want to say, or 4? It might be 5, where you see the mask being put on. That is
brutal.
Wild. That's what we want to see in the Energon Universe animated series. Anyway, Darklon, there you go. Lovely stuff. Now, this is another little thing that popped up that I just wanted to make very clear to everybody. Entertainment Earth very recently posted the most recent wave on, up on site in stock sort of situation. And of course, that wave is Sci-Fi, Wetsuit, Grim Viper, and Mainframe. And as you may notice, written in the blurb, we see Sci-Fi, Night Viper, Flash, and Wetsuit. Now, what is really interesting about this is the original lineup that we had on our listings as well. And so I was surprised when we got Grim Viper and Mainframe, but obviously there was a lot of delays, there was a lot of issues and a lot of logistical changes regarding the line plan. And I think they didn't make it wasn't a secret necessarily, that aspect. They did mention there was going to be huge delays. They didn't quite explain what the reasoning behind it all was, but it definitely showed as we were looking at listings, all this movement and pushing stuff and bringing stuff forward. So it's interesting that Entertainment Earth had that information prior as well, and of course did not update it on their site when they came to actually post it. So it could, this is very it's pointing at a very possible Flash introduction into Classified soon. Would you say, Mark?
I think there's a subtle clue there as to it literally. Well, this is your graphic, isn't it? But a literal pointing at Flash. And in the MCM panel today as well, they sort of emphasized how they wanted to round out that OG 13 as well. So it's another clue. They're not being too coy about it. That they are wanting to round out that 13, and Flash is definitely one that people are looking forward to seeing.
So it's pretty safe to assume, I think, that Flash might be coming in 2026. Nod, nod, wink, wink. Now, the other thing I would say is that just leaves Grand Slam, I believe, to make it into the team. And it wouldn't surprise me also if they just squeeze him into 2026 as well, just to make sure that they've kind of covered every single, OG 13 fan out there. And that would be not necessarily a sub team, is it? It really is it. It is and it isn't. How would you describe them as a sub team?
To some degree, I think people often treat them like a sub team. It's that initial wave, and they're all of a piece, because like year 2, then you start getting the wackier and the more individual costumes, whereas you kind of got that sort of green aspect sort of drawing them all together and sort of creating a little bit of, you know, a piece of that sub team. But my bet is Grand Slam will be silver pads though, because they'll go straight in with the silver, so that you've got something that looks very different to the Flash.
Definitely. And then, of course, you could just do a repaint of Grand Slam at some point on a retro card or something, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I really want Grand Slam to come with a jump pad, and I want the pad to be like big enough for the Dragonfly to use. This is what I would love with a Grand Slam if they ever did him. And you could kind of probably get away with doing, you know, tooling wise, do like corner pieces of each segment of the helipad that lock together. But if you do them sort of the same, or maybe two different molds, then you could effectively, you know, not cheap out, but like effectively like do it cost effectively is what I'm saying. To make a big enough pad for a Dragonfly. I just think the Dragonfly needs a helipad, in my opinion, and I think a jump pad would be a perfect way to sort of marry those two things that I want. Anyway, that's that. Someone has asked, have I added Flash to the 2026 listings? No, because I don't actually know what if there is a Flash on that listing. I don't know which one it is. So yeah, but I have a feeling that we'll probably see him, honestly. Now, that's that. Let's get into London, MCM London. That's what we're here for, and we've got an hour. Got over an hour. Amazing. Everyone's going to be so mad at me. I don't care. So we've got some cracking booth shots here from In Demand Toys. Thank you to Nick and Mass In Demand Toys for sending these images. This is a shot of, I think they're literally opposite. I think that In Demand Toys are literally in this position. Like, this is the picture he took, making it seem like he's doing something nice for me when it's just directly in front of him. But anyway, shout out to Nick and Mass. And everyone at In Demand Toys. But yeah, cool little. This was like, I think this was like early on in the build of the. Obviously, no one's about, so obviously it was like day one as everything was being put in there. We've got some really nice kind of shots of the kind of some of the retro figures that have kind of now been shipped. Desert Scorpion, the Steel. All of this has been shipped. I want to say, I think I have all of this in my possession, apart from Steeler and Short Fuse. Have you been getting a lot of stuff in, Mark, or have you?
I've kind of dropped out a little bit. I'm sort of picking and choosing some favorites, so I'm not out completely. But yeah, I've been getting fewer and fewer just because space. I've got a lot. Most of them are for playing with for the boy, but he's only got so many toys he can play with at any given time.
Yeah,
and also, you know, I'm waiting for him to age out. To be honest, with kind of,
I'll take that off your hands. I'll put that on my display instead. And then we've got these again, a few more booth shots here. We've got the green shirt and Televiper with some of the Cold Slither paraphernalia, and that BBTS exclusive, which has become like unicorn poop. It's so difficult to get hold of. Not because it's bad, but because it's really hard to get hold of. Cold Slither, of course, and Pythona, which we've seen multiple times now. I don't think we need to labor over those. And a shot from behind those booths. Thank you, Nick. All of the important shots there. And now we get to the panel. Let's talk about this. So Emily and Lenny ran the Joe segment of the panel, as you would expect, and started off with some render reveals, which they kind of like went straight into as sort of like promo, some promo images, and of course pre-orders for November the 4th. So the 4th, remember the 4th of November. So we start
1 p.m. Eastern, I think they said.
Yeah, 1 p.m. EST, which is the usual slot, I want to say. And we got the female Crimson Guard. So this was one they name only last time, and now obviously we're getting not just renders but actual full-on images of the figures. Thoughts on the Crimson Guard while we're here, and they'll say mine afterwards.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I mean, they've gone very much for the same as the male Crimson Guard, but just sort of adding a bit of curviness. And yeah, my disappointment is that it's not Alora from the comics, but
same.
Who knows? Maybe now that they've got this version, it will be pretty easy for them to re-release with an alternative head.
Genuinely surprised. We've got a G.I. Joe green shirt with 2 head options, right? I'm surprised we don't have an unmasked head with this figure, or like a couple of them. just to kind of like make it a troop builder, you know. But I'm obviously Crimson Guards. We haven't had different heads with Crimson Guards yet, I don't think, have we? All of the Crimson Guards we've had have not had different head sculpts, which is really strange based on the fact that they're the most likely troops to not have a helmet on all the time. Like, so you've got the Fred head, which I think would have been perfect to incorporate with the Crimson Guard. And now that you've got the Laura 343 sort of unmasked head, why that couldn't have been put in here? Like, it just seems to be like, you know, you could have, well, they may even rectify that with another release of the Crimson Guard, because this is the same color and deco as the retro Crimson Guard, which is a different crimson to the classified version, the regular classified mainline version. So very interesting situation here, I think.
Yeah, maybe we won't see the last of this one. We might see a blue one and other
bluey
unhelmeted ones. Yeah, a bluey. Why not?
Deming, right? Cadet Deming?
Yeah, Cadet Deming. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, what an opportunity to do a Cadet Deming in blue as well, actually. That'd be really cool. But I definitely think they've missed some real opportunities with the Crimson Guard, regular Crimson Guard, to not do the Fred head. And now not having a head here, I feel like they're just keeping that, going. But yeah, either way, it would have been nice to get a couple of options there. But we do get the machine gun, the pistol, the fists, the fistals, I'll call them, the knife, the sword, and the sheath as well. No backpack, surprisingly, I think.
Yeah.
Surprising, that one. Oh no,
there is in the box.
There is a backpack. It's just not in the loadout. Thank good. My heart then, Mark. I genuinely. Okay, she comes with the backpack, and now I'm happy again. Okay, cool. Imagine if I changed the screen and she'd do like alternate heads in there as well. That'd have been great. But no, there you go.
So the back of the card, is it just me, or does the order of the file card up the top and the little images of the characters down the cross cell down the bottom, does that being that way round, does that sort of just slightly, is that a kind of, is it just me, or is that a little bit like fingers down a chalkboard? It just, if it was the other way around, it'd just be, oh, perfect.
Not
so
just
close.
That, but they've got figures in the line more than just these 3 figures. Like, we've got like so many retro figures already. Make the cross cell bigger, and make that file card smaller. I know they've got text on it. There's a lot of text on it, but we don't need a file card like that. We do not need a 30-page file card with 17 different like languages on it. Yes, have the multi-language on it, but just make it smaller. Like, we don't have to read it. We're old now. We all need magnifying glasses anyway. But yeah, I'd be more interested in looking at the line of cross cell than I would be looking at the file card, because if you're not going to have the full file card information on there, I don't really see the point of it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think they've really struggled genuinely with the layout of not just, I mean, there's been the controversy with the card art itself, which, again, is looking a little bit, I don't know. It's not looking. We're not right. We're not quite there yet, are we?
You want to see clear evidence that you've got some human interaction there. Ideally, some a bit of texture from the paintbrushes. And I think the alternate Flint cards that has caused such a interesting stir. Whether you actually like the image or not, part of the power of that is that it's so clearly just paint from a human hand, and I think that sort of it's something quite powerful that just sort of makes you connect. That's another human creating that for sure. And I think it's sort of the AI, sort of just overly perfect computerized sheen. It's sort of we don't need it. Let's see some evidence of human interaction on the
couldn't agree more. So in this scenario, there's a couple. I think they need to sort some things out in terms of that layout and everything. But do you know what? I genuinely didn't think a backpack came with this figure, because I've just been looking at that one image of the render the whole time, and now that I'm seeing these, my heart is so full that we've got a back. Isn't that weird? Probably weird. Sorry. Anyway,
So
it's really more about the figure at the end of the day. Let's face it. It would be nice if we had that extra additional element, which is effectively what the retro series is kind of about. But we'll just have to go. We'll just have to work on this, I think. But there you go.
Two questions from the chat. Firstly, you talked about a BBTS exclusive. That was the Zartan.
Oh, that was Zartan. Yeah,
Super 7 sort of brownie Zartan.
It was the Sunbow Deco Zartan 3 3/4 Cold Slither that came in the box set with, and that was the BBTS exclusive I was talking about. I don't know why people are associating that with something else I was talking about, but yeah.
And second question, do we think that this is mostly new parts?
With the figure, yes. With the accessories, I imagine they're just reused from the Crimson Guard, but I don't know. So I'm crap with this, by the way. I am probably I am like parts blind when it comes to these action figures. The backpack could be smaller. I don't know. Not a clue.
Like, you wonder, like, how, because the legs are so similar. It's like, are all of the legs definitely different? Are all of the arms
the legs are different? The legs are definitely different. There's no way they're the Crimson Guard legs. There's no way in hell those are the Crimson Guard, like the male Crimson Guard legs. What they would have done was they would have got the Crimson Guard legs they've done and just made them smaller, is what I think's happened there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to do a sort of side by side and just see exactly how different they are eventually.
Anyway, there might be some elements in there. Yes, there might be some elements like a bit of the arm or like the mid torso or something. I don't know, but as far as I can tell, it looks like a fairly new figure. Valkyries, says Venom. Venom says they're reusing parts from the Valkyries.
Oh, right.
Okay, cool. That's going to be one of those things I'm going to have to actually look at both of them together next to each other with my own eyes, because I'm crap, like I said, at locating those different, pieces or what have you. Good. I think this is a solid figure, though, other than the art that we were talking about. But like the backpack, I would love to see on this figure as well in this particular shot. That would have been nice.
Look, you've got a Patrick Stewart in the comments. What's he doing?
What's Patrick Stewart do? He should be on this show. They got the backpack red this time. That's a good point. How am I missing all of these obvious things? Yeah, right, Pat. Great, good shout, mate. Red backpack as well, which is awesome. I don't think the retro Crimson Guard was a red backpack, was it? I think he's right. I'm looking.
All right. Just wander off.
They're in the back, and I need some sort of light because it's all dark back there.
Yeah, I can. Oh, right, you're going off. I was gonna multitask while you.
It was red. The retro one's got a red backpack as well. The retro Crimson Guard.
It was the initial one was black, and then the retro was red, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's correct. And so this is just basically following that line, basically. Oh, Pat says the retro was red, but it was a different red, right? Maybe it was brighter. I don't know. I'd have to see it next to each other. I wouldn't be surprised if they've just copied the retro Crimson Guard, like deco wise, and just copied that over. But I think
it's the fact that they've gone retro first, it does leave the door wide open for them re-releasing it.
Like with this isn't the last time we see the female Crimson Guard. I'm almost certain of that. There you go, and then a couple more promo images from the actual panel, which we don't have yet. And the rifle does attach to the backpack, which is nice. There you go. Then we've got Crazy Weasels. Well, Crazy Legs. But I call them Crazy Weasels because that's my stupid personality. And now this one is an interesting one because obviously we've got the Night Force version, courtesy of the Dragonfly, but we only have one head sculpt with this one, and he's absolutely giving it some, isn't he? Are you surprised they didn't give him both heads?
It seems like an odd choice that they've gone for one shouting head to me. I think my least favorite G.I. Joe figure ever made was Shoutface Duke. I think having a single head that is just like is a bit full on. And
going to be fun for toy photography, isn't it? Where like they've got him just hanging out with some friends. Like
it does. I mean, I think it does match the file, the box art of both the OG and also this new one. But as a permanent fixed head, I think it's a bit much, and it definitely rubs me up the wrong way. I would be put off buying this one because of the head, to be honest. But
I'm
you
not
do
going
at
to be put off
least
buying it.
you do at least have the option that you could take off your Night Force head and pop it on this body. So I think the fact that you've got that as an option is, you know, is a positive. That if you don't like the head and you do want the the classic look, that you could sort of do that.
For me, he's going to be permanently parachuting because that's the only face that you would pull in that scenario. And he doesn't come with a lot of gear in the render anyway. But if you look at the actual, the actual kind of loadout in the pack, it's actually not too bad, I don't think. I think the backpack being on him and not shown in the render, in the same way that the backpack not being shown with the Crimson Guard feels a little bit like light. But in terms of his gear, I don't expect him to have more than that. I mean, he's wearing most of it. The secondary, the double secondary, I call it, because that tan element is another extra secondary that goes over the already web gear that he's got on the body. So there's a lot. He does come with a lot of stuff. It's just not like individual things. But the fact that he's got the pistol, the knife, and the rifle, and the goggles, removable of the helmet too. I don't know. I think that's a pretty decent loadout, personally.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I wonder if that sort of strapping that he's got on there is removable or not.
It is, yeah. The tan one is.
Yeah, you think it is? Okay.
Oh no, it is. Yeah, it's the same as the Night Force one.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, I've got it in front of me. I've never actually tried to take it off. Is it?
You might have to take
this thing in the middle.
Yeah,
is sort of you pop it up and then. Yeah.
Okay. So that won't be an issue necessarily, but again, it's like extra gear. You know, like I think loadout wise he's fine. I would have given him another head, but maybe they're looking at that and going, where do we put it in the pack? Maybe you'd put it with the helmet in that space. That would have been a way around it if they wanted to do that. But there you go. You've got, technically, if you've got a Dragonfly, you've got two options. But again, that's a lot to ask if people don't have it. And I don't know how they rectify that at any point in the future. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can do another Crazy Legs release. Tiger Force Crazy Legs?
Well, I suppose you could if you really wanted to.
Toxo Viper Crazy Legs? I'm just kidding. Anyway, here. Oh, and I will say I do love the digital background retro cards more than.
Oh,
I
yes,
love
cool.
Yeah, I think the digital background speaks to me because of the International Heroes rebrand back in the day, and of course, G.I. Joe at that point as well. I love the digital background.
Have we had the digital background on other retros already?
Yep, I think Mindbender and the Viper, was it?
Okay.
But Rock and Roll had the regular explosion, and I think Mindbender had it, and I can't remember what the Viper had, but they have had digital explosions. Yes, correct. They have.
Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't reuse this head because of Ezra Miller threatened to sue or something.
That's a good point, actually. They've had the 3D logo up, Paul, I want to say, on the last digital explosion background. If you have one at hand, you can disprove that quickly. But I'm pretty sure we've seen the 3D logo with the digital explosion. I could be wrong, though, but I feel like we have seen it. Either way, cool. And it's good to point out as well anyway, Paul. Very good to point out that is the 3D logo is very awesome. And it reminds me of the commercials where it would kind of like become 3D at the beginning. Yeah, I used to love that. Yeah, I think Mindbender and the Viper had it. Okay. And then, of course, here's, again, the figure and all the gear he comes with. It would have been cool to have an actual working parachute. But again, what are you going to do? And there he is with no helmet. Put the helmet on. There he is. Recreating the card art as well, and loading his machine gun. And a couple of other shots. We're going to have a lot of promo images to go back over on the next episode for sure. Right, so now we get into Zap, Rafael Zap Melendez. I think this is pretty much what everyone was expecting. This is what I was expecting. I think they've pretty much nailed it. We've got retro kind of accessories. The backpack, the rockets are removable, which is cool. The bazooka, which is very, retro styled. The Sunbow rifle, the helmet, everything looks right on this from what you expect from me. Do you have any thoughts on Zap?
Yeah, no notes is if they're sort of going retro, but sort of with very subtle updates. There, you've got your little backpack is very pretty
There it is.
faithful there to the original. Oh, there we go. And you've got your OG
Yeah.
bazooka looking very faithful. I think they said you can load the missiles in the
Yes,
bazooka.
which is
You've
awesome.
got your Sunbow, was it XMLR rifle there, which is a nice little addition as well. And then he was a pretty generic little green fella originally. So they've written with the brown straps and stuff. So they've been pretty faithful with all of that, and sort of they've made sure they've got the moustache, which would be the deal breaker for me.
Should have been an alternate head in this one as well, an alternate toy head as well, just to really cover all the bases. But yeah,
They
no,
could
I
have
think
given him Grunt's head as
yeah,
the alternate head.
there you go, done. They should have put that in the package, shouldn't they? They should have done that. That would have been so funny and really expensive. No, not at all. Anyway, this is really cool. I like Zap. I think Zap is standout. I do obviously. I'm a big fan of Crazy Legs anyway, and of course we're getting a female Crimson Guard for the first time. But Zap is there's like a no notes scenario here for Zap. I think he's just like kind of spot on, really. Yeah, there you go. That's Rafael Zap Melendez, front and back card. And here he is with all his loadout again. A clearer shot of the bazooka as well with that, because there's a couple of different versions of Zap's bazooka, and one of them has a little loop sort of element as a handle part.
Yeah.
But your one has a closed piece, doesn't it? On the
Yeah, mine's got the open bit. So, yeah.
So again, like they've kind of gone sort of in between the different versions of the bazooka, which is really cool. Like try to take on as many different elements as possible. Love the retro parts on this one are great. Yeah, I think
and look on the right of the screen. They've given him pre-broken hands as well. That's fantastic. It's just like that.
The thumbs gone. Zap should have removable thumbs, says Kickley. Hello, Kickley.
Hey.
Speaking of artists of high caliber, Kickley in the house. Yeah, I haven't had a Kickley corner for a while. Kickley, you need to get some GI Joe stuff out so we can do a Kickley corner again.
I think Kickley's at Assembly Required, isn't he, this year? So there must be some more GI Joe art to come on the back of that.
I did that. Should have done that. I did that, but I should have done that because we're in Zap territory.
Yeah, we're in Zap territory. 2 thumbs up.
And I do. Actually, they've kind of increased the skin tone on it, which I really like as well. With really highlighting Zap's sort of Hispanic heritage as well, which is great. And that bazooka looks so dope. They've made what is quite a kind of like basic bazooka originally. They've added some real nice details to it to really kind of like ramp it up a bit here. So yeah, I like this a lot. Very much a fan of this Zap. And then we've got a couple more shots here. I don't know why I was drunk when I took that screenshot, but clearly I was. And also massive shout out to Dan Who Reviews, by the way, who these images are coming from his live stream. That was a lifesaver, by the way. When Dan Who said, yeah, I'm just going to be filming the panel, I was like, fantastic. So that was really nice. So yeah, massive shout out to Dan Who. And yeah, some great shots here. Extra shots. We'll obviously be getting more on the 4th of November, or maybe the 3rd or 2nd of November when all the promo images leak. But yeah, that will be happening. Then we got Arctic. Then we got Assault. Then we got Arctic Assault Hiss to talk about. So a couple more. Well, they showed the shots, which we've already seen before, and I'll do that. This is a much cleaner image of the Arctic Hiss. They mentioned this is made to order. It will be a sort of pre-order vibe in a certain period of time, 30-day period of time, and you're effectively locking in your version of it, and that's all they make. They might make I imagine they make a few extra in terms of minimum order quantities in order to cover things like damage and replacements and things like that, but for the most part it's going to be close to what is ordered here. Interesting way of doing this, Mark.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it can be frustrating when there's this sort of artificial scarcity that the moment almost immediately as it's announced, we don't, you potentially, not get it. So by sort of having that 30-day window of pre-ordering, and if you want it, you can get it. Just just
it's not going to be
pre-order.
like pre-orders where you put a pre-order in but you try and put a pre-order in, but it's gone in like 12 seconds. Like that's another good part of that. It's like you can put your pre-order any point in that 30-day window and you're locked in. So yeah, totally.
And they said that you're not going to get charged until it ships as well. So even if there's a long delay between the pre-order and it actually coming out, you're not going to get charged until it actually does, which is good, I think. They said it's following the same model as, was it Apocalypse? They said there's another one that is on pre-order at the moment.
They've done a few, haven't they?
They're sort of following the same model
from Marvel Legends. Yeah, Ryan Daly has said the door is wide open for Tiger Rat and Tiger Cat now, and I agree on that. And I'm kind of happy that those options, and Snowcat as well. Actually, that is the Tiger Cat. What I'm talking about. Tiger Rat, Tiger Cat. Are there any others?
The Vamp. Oh no, that's not a HasLab. Yeah, we've only had
those, so I don't know why I'm adding more HasLabs. But yeah, and that's you're totally right on that, and I agree, and I can't wait. Oh yeah, Tigerfly. You said Tigerfly. No, you didn't say Tigerfly. That's the one that was missing.
Yeah.
Tiger Rat, Tiger Cat, Tigerfly. Hot diggity dumplings, please and thank you. Give me all of that, is what I'm saying. And everyone else is like, stop it. Stop making them make stupid things that no one wants. I was the only one talking about Arctic Hisses for the longest time, and everyone was like, shut up, and they weren't going to go and make it. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm forcing them to make things that I want. And Tiger Force Lightfoot should be next in that sense, shouldn't it? Really?
or just Lightfoot.
Lightfoot in general, yeah. Don't even. He's already there, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I think this obviously the original Hiss was the first one out of the gate in terms of the HasLabs, so it makes sense that they're getting to this first. They've sort of indicated there will be a delay between the HasLab and them doing this kind of thing. They're not just going to do a reprint of the existing HasLab as in its original released state. That's the only way you can get that thing. But things like this repaint,
it kind of makes it makes sense to me. And and I get that some people were saying that it was kind of like a slap in the face to those that back the HasLab, but I don't really see it as a slap in the face. I mean, I don't sit there and go, how dare they reutilize this very expensive tooling. I kind of go,
on or whatever it is.
We're getting more friggin' cool stuff, but like, I don't know. I see it slightly differently than a lot of other people, and I realize that, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong to do so. We just have different opinions on things, and that's how it is. But in terms of this, I'm so excited for an Arctic Hiss. I can't even begin to describe that excitement. But then also the thought of Tiger Force versions of everything we've had in HasLab so far also makes me giddy. But anyway, that is that. And we'll have more information, I think, later on in the year. Like that's a winter pre-order scenario. So November, December, we haven't got much left, but sometime in there. And then we've got this, mate, which keeps coming back. Now, Emily said they're going to be revealing this fully in early 2026. So we'll be seeing this in like that first event of 2026.
Okay.
What do you think?
A Gimp Viper, maybe. The fourth DePayne brother. I don't...
Gimp Viper. It's amazing. Amazing. Oh, now, okay, yeah, I think could it be could it be the DePaynes? Holy crap. In that case, maybe it'll be like there'll be the DePayne brothers, and then it'll be Snake Eyes version 3 as like a similar release kind of situation. 3-pack in a classified version. There you go. Chris G's like, I want a Gimp Viper now. I'm not even going to say what Couch Boy said, but yeah, maybe. Maneus says looks like a collar for Max, maybe. Poor Max the Bobcat. It could be actually. I think this is going to be more heavy duty. I think this is going to be some sort of creature of some, I don't know, larger capacity, more kind of that needs a bit of like wrangling. hippo,
Not wide enough for a
rhino,
hippo.
baby
Giraffe.
rhino, giraffe. It could be Leatherneck with his pet giraffe in his giraffe pants. I think you've done it.
Wow. Yeah. Mystery
done
and
it.
yeah.
Max says Daddy Viper. Stop it. Anyway, giraffe is genius, by the way, and I think I'm going to take that as my own. That's my own idea. Jello Ben says Chris knows and he's not telling. Jello Ben is actually right.
This is for Scarlet and Duke. Says wow.
Amazing. Komodo dragon would be a good shout, Cal. But I do know, and I'm not telling, and that is the truth. Actually,
I do. I like this. I like this suggestion though. But Baroness with a panther.
Yes.
Be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. As in, what's his name?
Ravage.
Ravage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Kangor's being shouted out a lot. That'd be pretty dope. Raptor version 2 with ostrich, says Ryan Daly. All right, well, that's enough now. Shelf presents, actually, cat or a cobra-la creature they can ride. That would be pretty cool. Angry Polly says, all right, that's enough now. We'll move on. Now we're on to the name only reveals. This is another little bit that we're going to take a little bit of time with. But of course, Taurus and Red Dog got an official name drop, even though technically Emily had already revealed this when they revealed Sergeant Mercer. She said, and of course, we might as well say, but we're also doing the other Renegades as well. So that was sort of, that's why I unlocked it on the listings, because we knew it was that 2-pack was there. So this is sort of like a cheat because they've already technically revealed these ones. But anyway, nice and confirmed now. Mark, are you excited for these two?
Yeah. Well, not any more excited than I was yesterday. It's. I did say to you, am I hallucinating, or have they not already announced these? But
technically, yes. But this is the first time the names have been said. But yeah, and
because I guess Renegades. I mean, they're calling Mad Marauders essentially, sort of those other extended Renegades, aren't they?
Well, the fact that it was, because it was Mercer and the Sarge, and they said we're doing the other Renegades as well, so it was like at that point it just made it made sense in that context. But there you go. Yeah, Taurus and Red Dog. We've known for a while, and it's already unlocked, so we'll move on. Hydro Viper, and again, I was very drunk when I took this screenshot. Sorry, guys. Drunk on excitement, I will add.
Yeah.
But Hydro Viper. This was another. There you go. There's a much better image of it by Mark in a much tinier but better version of the Impel card there. Now, we kind of knew Hydro Viper was coming, didn't we? Because of the flippers that Wetsuit has.
The flipping flippers, yeah.
The flipping flippers. But that was one of the best sort of like low-key pre-tool sort of reveals that I've ever known. So I was really excited. And the fact that we've got official confirmation now is great. And we'll be unlocking that on the listings shortly as well. So there you go. And I will also add that, yes, it comes with a ray as well. So I'm throwing that one in there for everybody. It will come with the animal companion. They might have said that in the panel, but I didn't catch it if they did, because it dropped out at one point, Dan Who's panel stream. So I'm not 100% sure if they mentioned that. Okay. Zarnia is the last one, Mark. No, not the last one. What am I talking about? There's more. There is 2 more. So Are you excited to see a character that sort of made her debut in the Devil's Due period, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This was one of the key Devil's Due era creations. So this was Josh Blaylock creation. I think she might have even appeared or been referred to all the way back in issue 1 from Devil's Due. It was very early on. It was a great little creation. It's not the first time that she's been seen in toy form. They did make a club version of this, didn't they? In 4-inch form. And there's been some interesting sort of customized versions at a classified scale. But yeah, it's great to see them sort of branching out and going for some less obvious choices in terms of characters and sort of broadening that mix. Yeah, so I'm happy to see this one for sure.
Zarnia, I didn't know it was you. That is just for the people that hate me doing that every single time. Yeah, we have. What was Zarnia was in? Was it the 7-pack? I want Burnout, Norgahide. Yeah. It was that 7-pack that she was in. figure wise, the 4-inch one. Anyway, lovely stuff. That's Zanya. And then we have Zartan, her dad, from Ninja Force version. I am so excited for this. I cannot even begin. And we've also got this unlocked in the listings. Zanya, by the way, we don't know which one she is in the 2026 listings, but we do know Zartan, Hydro Viper, and of course Taurus and Red Dog. But yeah, your favorite version of Zartan, Mark, or not?
I'm warmed up to him over time.
Okay.
But yeah, at the panel they were hilarious in their, in their descriptions of Zartan. He's like, worst ninja ever. It's like with the this, he's a master of disguise, and this is how he chooses to dress up. The neon and the rattly chains, is that really great for stealth attacks? I'm not entirely sure, but I know this is that a lot of people have a soft spot for this particular version of Zartan.
I have
so
a massive soft
fair
spot.
play.
Massive soft spot. This is one of my favorite figures. Like, I love him. I'm really, really down for this. Like, the club did Ninja Force Zartan with the motorcycle towards the end of their run on the figures as well, and I was really happy they managed to squeeze him in. So classified, getting to it, fantastic stuff. Cannot wait. Now we'll move into the listings. Very quickly, no changes for 2025. The HISS tank will be moving into 2026. Don't you worry, because it's obviously in hand. 2026. There's no way that's happening soon. The pre-order will be going up, but the actual listing should move. So I will move it into 2026. But let's look at the unlocked listings. So Hydro Viper is not oddly, Dr. Viper in the listings on the left-hand side. So Hydro Viper will be a standard mainline 5-figure sort of figure. So it's not going to be like a deluxe or anything like that. It's not going to be a figure pet, but it will have the Ray with him. So it's a Hydro Viper and Ray, but in a very, kind of like how we've had Spirit, Shipwreck, those characters with an animal in a single sort of mainline release. Also, as you'll notice on the right-hand side, Ninja Force Zartan is Target exclusive. So that's MD Droopy up there, top right. That's where Ninja Force Zartan unlocks in there. And those are the two changes on the listings. Obviously, we already knew about Taurus and Red Dog. All the other listings have been unlocked for a couple of weeks now, for the most part. And so Zanya, don't know. Where do you think Zanya comes? Do you think she'll be in that next group of 5? Because the fact is, they usually do that, don't they?
Bias towards the more recent stuff, isn't there? So,
however, I know they revealed Iceberg, but that was more to do with the Snowcat, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it's giving that indication that there's more stuff in that snow world and getting people excited about that element. So it makes sense to say, yeah, here's another snow guy to come, get people pumped for their Snowcats.
Yeah. Also, still don't know who Chairface is, by the way. That is an absolute pain in my grundle, and always will be for some reason.
It's giving you butt splinters.
I know it really is giving me butt splinters. Right, that is the listings. Pretty much everything unlocked, as I said. I don't think there's any more news on that. No, that's everything. Now we move on to, very quickly, the official name owner reveals are now a little bit more healthier. Iceberg, Taurus and Red Dog, Ninja Force Zartan, Hydro Viper, and Zanya. Very nice. And of course, digital renders have grown as well. So Crazy Legs and Zap for the Joes. Female Crimson Guard joins Arctic Assault Hiss and Cobra La Royal Guard as well. Okay, that is everything. Let's have a quick message from our sponsor, and we'll get into the shout outs. Go. The deluxe treasure editions of the Battle Action Force comics are amazing. Go get them. TotalToyBooks.co.com if you're in the UK and Europe, and Skeletron.com if you're in the US as bloody well. Right then, Let's get through these. We've got roll out, roll call coming. And of course, attached to that, Battle Action Force, they are doing a special attendee price, $50 per volume. £50, sorry, per volume. I'm saying bucks all of a sudden. Now, this is tomorrow, roll out, roll call. And I'll just jump. Sorry, Pat. I'm just going to jump images to actually talk about roll out, roll call. I keep doing this, put in the wrong order. So that is Sunday, 26th of October at Fordingbridge Town Hall, SP6 1AS. It sounds like I was doing a big breakfast thing then. Was it London? Oh, Old Ford Lock, London E3 2NN. Is that right? Have I remembered that correctly?
Can't remember.
I remember the big breakfast address. That's mental. Anyway, Kraken Creations is doing a clear Skeletron, which is very cool as an exclusive for the show. And also as an exclusive is the Arctic Red Laser from No More Heroes. So go check those out. They're brilliant. This is a kind of like sort of custom on the current O-Ring Arctic Cobra Commander, which is pretty dope. So shout out to both of those. And of course, to roll out roll call, get it in you. Now also, massive shout out to Articulated Points, Arctic Assault Points. Phil and Pat. Pat was in the chat a second ago. Chat Stewart over there, who should be on the show. So that will hopefully be rectified soon. But shout out to those guys. And of course, go check them out. Link in the description, please. And thank you. Also, codenameiowa.com for all of your assembly required related situations, including assembly required itself. 14th and 15th of November, of course, and a couple of updates just to run by you. The first one is a Tuesday teaser. What could make the Friday night of Assembly Required even more fun? Answer, our new Knowing is Half the Battle trivia competition. So after the ticketed Friday night group dinner, join us at Buzzard Billy's starting at 9:30 p.m. for several rounds of G.I. Joe trivia. Those who prove they know the most will be awarded special prizes in recognition of their intellect for intel. So there you go. The Knowing is Half the Battle trivia event is free and everyone is welcome to attend. Buzzard Billy's is literally across the road from the event, kind of hotel event space as well. So very easy to find and go to. You'll bloody love it. And then, of course, another couple. Sorry, there's loads of stuff I have to kind of go through here. So new recruits welcome. Part of Codename Iowa's mission is to help pass on the love of G.I. Joe to the next generation. As a family-friendly event, Assembly Required encourages kids of all ages to attend. Every child 12 and under receives a free AR recruit set, skills, exercise, and tactics, like that booklet with fun activities and the chance to take home a special gift. It's very family-friendly, the show. It's awesome. And finally, I think, no, it's not finally, there's more. Window of operation alert. Now is the time to go all in on the mission. Pre-orders for gear kits and t-shirts close next week on Friday, October 31st. Get geared up at codenameiowa.com store now. And while you're there, we've got 8 seats left for the Friday night group dinner. Secure your ticket before they're gone. They may have gone, I don't know right now. You'll have to check. And finally, there is one more briefing to go before the end of, before the actual 14th. And that is the Assault on Cobra Island pre-mission briefing from the Desk of Hawk. Few men have entered the lab of Cobra's mad genius and emerged with their minds intact. So for this solo mission, you're the number one choice. Infiltrate, confiscate, put eyes and ears in the room. Silence is essential. No one can know you are there. All will become clear at the show. So there you go. Are you excited for all these updates, Mark?
Well, it just sort of makes me have FOMO. I'd love to
same.
be there. But yeah, Tim will be representing for Talking Joe.
Awesome. Shout out to Tim. And then we've already done roll call, so I'll just skip by all those images that I put in the wrong order. The next one is Skeletron, of course. Shout out to skeletron.com. Get your RoboSkull Mark IIs right this second. You know you want to. And of course, for Mark, for Talking Joe, Mark and Tim at Talking Joe, you have got a couple of episodes, one coming out and one about to come out. Is that correct?
That's right. So our last one out, excluding the one with a little tour of the MCM booth that Chief recorded. The last one was G.I. Joe issue number 12, having our deep dive into that issue that introduces Shooter into the Energon Universe.
Brilliant
and
issue.
this coming week, Thursday is our normal day for an episode release, and we will be releasing an interview with the artist of that issue, Marco Fodera, who, artist of number 12 and also the forthcoming number, if I remember correctly, 18 with Roadblock being introduced. And it was funny because he literally was finding out in real time what that issue was going to be about when we were talking.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. This issue 12 is incredible, by the way, as well. Like, artwork's on point, storyline's fantastic. Shooter gets some really cool development, fantastic stuff. Yeah, big time. Shout out to Talking Joe, of course, and to Mark and Tim. Link in the descriptions for their website, which has all the links to their fantastic socials and everything. Go get it sorted now, please, and thank you. Done. Brilliant. Right then. One last thing, just want to shout out the pre-order section for our t-shirts is available right this second at codenameiowa.com, and you can find the little Full Force kind of link on their website. We're doing t-shirts again as a pre-order kind of situation until the 31st of October, so Halloween's your last chance to jump on board if you want to get a Full Force tee and want to rock the rep for the Full Force. Go do it. We've got the full color logo on grey, black and white, and we have the one color logo on green, blue and red as well, so you can get those. They're all screen printed as well, so people have been asking about those. They're screen printed logos. They're great t-shirts, really nice quality, and Codename Iowa we're collaborating with do the best t-shirts. It's amazing.
They really do.
So there you go. Get involved. Go do it. Pre-orders.
I'm regularly rocking my my Codename Iowa merch.
They're so good, aren't they?
It's like half of my t-shirts now.
So shout out to them again. And one last thing: if you're an international, if you're an international customer and you're outside the US, I should say, you can choose pickup, and we will invoice you separately via email for the shipping. So if you were wondering how you could get that, if you want a t-shirt and you're outside of the US, just choose pickup and we will do the rest. Okay, cool, awesome. Thank you very much. Right then, that's it for this bumper episode of it's like a double episode, but thank you so much, Mark, for joining me, mate. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
It's been awesome. I will see our patrons tomorrow at 3:00 to go through some fun stuff with you guys and do Q&A, and you're part of that, Mark, so I'll see you tomorrow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Cool.
Anything you want to say before you go?
No, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be involved, whether it's as a watcher or a talker, a watchee,
a voyeur.
So yeah.
Well, really a massive pleasure to have you on, mate. Really glad you could jump on. And even though it was a little bit like, hey, I'm free if you want me on, it was like, okay, yeah, and then scramble to do all graphics and things. I very much appreciate it. So yeah, maybe we can get you on again when you get some free time with
the next time the missus goes out at this time of night and leaves me home alone. Sure.
You can jump on a news burst. Right, if there is anything, we'll just chat about comics. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you guys in the chat as well. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.